going on, guys? Today's video, we're gonna finish this deck lid off a little bit, I'm thinking. So like it's fitting not bad. I'm happy with the hinge and all that. I gotta finish doing a little bit more kind of stretcher shrinkering just to get the curve a little better. It's not actually terrible, it's very livable, but there's just a couple of high spots I'd like to kind of take out, and I gotta mark it with a Sharpie, so I'll brake clean this all off. Because when I was doing it before, I was just kind of fitting it on, but I didn't know where it was going to hinge. So now that I have that on there, I'm happy with the way it's going to sit. That should be just fine. I picked up some, well, I had this. It's just some like 3/4 angle. I think it's like 1/8 or something. So I'm thinking I'll just put a couple of strips across, kind of in between the louvers and a few of them, just to give it a little bit of strength because it's very flimsy. So it won't need much, just a couple, and I think it'll be good enough. I gotta figure a way to mount it. I'm not 100% sure what I'm gonna do there. I want to re-weld the this little panel I made. And the other thing I want to do is I think I want to kind of paint this part of the car. So do a little bit of that kind of bullshit Patina stuff. I might show you guys how I did it. Not that I'm saying it's right, but it's just what I'm gonna do. And yeah. That should be a full night of work, and I'm hoping it'll get done and it'll actually be like a nice evening project. So I'm pretty stoked on that. So I gotta clean up a little bit in here just so I'm not stepping all over the place. Get the strinker stretcher set up on the stand and start messing this thing up. Alright, I got myself all set up. Stretcher, shrinker, welder. Today was actually a good day. So typically I get these little tanks because here that's the biggest tank you can own without being on a contract. And up until now, I haven't been going through enough welding gas to need a kind of a contract. But they only had one, so the guy gave me the like next size up or whatever for the same price. So that worked out pretty good. Deck lid's off. So this is, I mean, in a nutshell, what I did. Originally, we had just cut out this section here with like some side cutters or whatever. A little hand shear to make it fit around the original pin. So this maybe shows a little better. So that's the original pin. I drilled out the other one, just welded a nut on the backside. Surprisingly enough, this little hinge came off. The bolts just came out, 100 years old or whatever. So I weld these washers on. Obviously, because we had just kind of went in there with a chainsaw, they're just real rinky-dink. So we're gonna have to fill in with a little bit more sheet metal, maybe do something on the back side, so they're a little bit nicer and more permanent strength-wise. While I was under, on the underside, it was actually hitting in a few spots. You can see here where I've marked, that's where I guess I was pulling the metal apart. It really got quite tall there. So I'm just gonna kind of zip in there a little bit. And then same on this side, just needs a little bit of trimming. It's actually hitting in here. I probably could actually just bend this over now I think about it, because it's pretty beat. So obviously, maybe let's do that first. I'll get this all kind of pulled back in line a little. Then maybe the deck would actually fit in there a little nicely. So I'll do that. I'll weld up these so it's a little bit more proper. And then we'll test fit it again. And we'll see. Maybe it's actually gonna be a lot closer than I think. But worst case, we'll stretch or shrinker it till it fits. Or hammer it. Or be done with it. So that's what I'm doing now. I'll get this all kind of sorted out and bring it right back. Here's what I did. I basically just welded a second piece of the sheet metal, so it's double wall where the little washers are. So whatever, it is what it is. And I just took a little piece of that angle and I put one right there. So I'm thinking one right there, and then somewhere in the middle is probably where the other one's going to end up. I'm not going to put that one in just yet, because if I have to stretch or shrinker it, obviously that'll mangle up my life. And then probably nothing down there, I'm thinking, because if I leave it kind of loose, then it'll clamp down better with whatever I decide to put for a latch. So I'll test this thing on the car, and we'll see how she fits now. You guys probably won't even believe me, but this thing fits pretty mint. Like, I'm super happy with it just by putting it on. I adjusted the one hinge a little bit. I mean, it's got one little high spot right there, but you know what? I'm gonna live with it because I think it's actually still hitting right there, and I can still do a little more adjustment in the hinge. Putting that little bar across the back gave it a bunch more strength. It's still kind of shaky, but it's way better than it was. So I'm just gonna do one kind of right there-ish, I'm thinking, and that should be fine. That's where it seems like it has the most flex. So yeah, do that. I don't want to add too much weight to it either, then you're kind of fighting yourself. I mean, ultimately it's probably fine the way it is, but yeah, I'll weld one more in there, bolt it back on, and kind of call her a day. I'm actually shocked how well it kind of fits. I'm fighting out how I want to latch. I think I'm just gonna have like almost like a gate latch or something like that, just like a spring load thing to pull it down. I do a little bending around there to make it fit, but that's it. That's been shockingly better than I thought it was going to. But I'll flip her on her back, clean her up a little bit, weld on a little brace, and move on to something else. Well, she's back in the car. I'm pretty happy with it. So I added in the one brace, actually down here I just doubled up the sheet metal, just so it had a little bit more strength, nothing too crazy. It can still kind of flex down when I latch it or whatever I'm going to do. I mean, I can always put an angle on if I really fall in love with something, but yeah, fits pretty good. It's a lot less flimsy now. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Almost closes itself. So now I just gotta figure out some sort of latches. So if you guys have any great ideas, let me know in the comments. It's like I said, I'm thinking about some sort of like a spring-loaded gate latch or something like that, or even you know what old school Jeeps had? They had that little prong that would chunk, kind of hold it down. Something more period correct from like a Model A would be sweet. But I don't know. I also had the thought of doing like an old school leather, like a belt on each side, just kind of give it that look. But I don't know. Leave a comment, let me know what you think. But now, start working on this junk. So I undid the zip tie. Oh, I still got to grind in here. Well, I'll get this all kind of ground down, and we'll bring it back, and we'll kind of show you what I did to match some of that rusty, shitty look. See what you guys think. It was actually super easy, but I don't know, a little bit of method to my madness. All right. So, I'm going to show you how I blend this paint, mangle this paint, whatever you want to call it. So it was very simple. I started off with first I just had some high build gray primer, just because it was gray. I've got flat black and red oxide primer and a can of brake clean. So the car's kind of all over the place, so obviously up here it's more black, so I'm going to paint the window and stuff. So that's fine. Obviously the door, the lower of the cowl, and the back of the quarter and all that is more of a rusty color. It's actually yellow a little bit on this one side more than the other. But there are traces of black, and the yellow almost kind of blends into a grayish. So what I'm going to do, the front I'm going to hit with the primer, the gray primer a little bit first, then a little bit of black, and then the red. I'll just probably do black and red here, and the back, kind of the same thing. It's got some primer coming through, a little bit of black as well, so I'll do that. And I just kind of paint them on real willy-nilly, not a whole lot of thought to it. Let it kind of flash off. I go color after color. I'm not letting it dry or nothing, get it all kind of melted together. And then I just kind of blast it with brake cleaner, and that kind of makes it go all gibbled and leak down and gives it a look. Let's get started. That's good there. All of that. In the back we're going to do primer and black, I guess. Why not? We'll go all out. Now I gotta take the wheels off to do both sides properly, but we'll get this kind of going. And then I like to just kind of blend just a little bit higher, just so it doesn't go quite so crazy. A little black on that one too. So we got that. Now it would have been nice to have a little bit darker brown. I had this, so we're going to use it. It would have suited the kind of rusty a little bit. Now obviously this has like a real texture to it. This is going to be kind of more of a smooth thing, so it won't have the same look, but it'll be close enough. I'm just kind of winging it. Whatever happens, happens. We can always fix it after if we want. So I go far away, just kind of spray it on just so you can still see a little bit of black coming through. So there you go. Now I just kind of let it sit for a minute, let it kind of flash off so it's still tacky and wet but not dripping wet. And then I'll blast it with the brake clean. So I'll give it 5 minutes, we'll be back and we'll finish this up. Alright, so the paint's kind of flashed off a little bit. You can kind of touch it. It's still a little bit tacky, but it's not leaving anything on my fingers, which is what we want, what I want. So there's no rhyme or reason to this whatsoever. I just kind of fog her down. So I'm going to start a little higher, let it kind of leak down, do its thing, blast in a few spots, and just kind of go. Now it's going to kind of do its thing. You got to have a little bit of patience. And I mean, if you don't like it, you add a little bit more, and whatever kind of happens, happens. But I just kind of let it drip. It'll kind of get all gibbled. I might put one more kind of light dusting of the brown on. I hit it a little hard here. You can see the paint's really kind of coming off, but whatever. The problem that really kind of plays tricks in your eyes, so you can see this where it's wet before it's kind of evaporating off. So it gives it a goopy look. So you gotta let it kind of go until it kind of dries off, and you're golden. So let that go for a minute. I'll come back, probably put one more little bit of brown on, and kind of call her a day. Alright. So it's not looking too bad. It could definitely use a little bit more black in it. So let's kind of mist some of that on. This actually needs just a little bit more brown. And the back, there's a little more black in there. So the trick is to shut your brain off when you're doing this. This is where my old man drives him nuts, because he likes to have things nicely done and planned out, masked, sanded, cleaned. I didn't even wipe this thing down before I hit it. Where's the magic brake clean? A little bit boring and slow and tedious, but it's going. Wish I had a little bit of yellow actually I could put in there, but I don't have any and I'm not going to buy yellow paint. It's all what we have on the shelf, right? So the front touch turned out pretty good. I'm happy with that. Back here's not terrible. It's got a bit of a funny blend line because there's a little bit of primer there, but it's got a bunch of primer kind of on the wheel well there, so it does kind of flow in and does its thing. The door is going to be the hardest one, I think, even though it's a solid color, because the rust is so dark and pronounced. Trying to get the right colors a little goofy. I hit it a little hard with the brake clean. It's got actually drips, which I didn't really want, but overall it's not terrible actually. The blend line here is pretty nice, where it kind of starts, goes in. Hopefully it shows up decent on camera. But yeah, I think that's all I'm going to do. I think it looks good enough. Now obviously it's just a bunch of primer and some black paint with a bunch of brake cleaner on it, so it's going to rust and all that once you start driving it. Get out there and enjoy the car a little. So it'll just kind of blend in and do its thing. You know, washing a little bit, I could also kind of take an SOS pad or do whatever I really wanted to, but I think it looks just fine. So now we'll do these next. Now this looks like it was yellow then just black, so that's real easy to do. I think I just did it straight black on the other side, so then even rusty. The other side's black and rust, so we'll try and accomplish that too. I feel like those guys on the biggest strip selling you painting of the moon or whatever. It'll be different. Cool. Well, that's just kind of black, so we'll leave that there. This has a little bit of rustiness in it. Good enough for me. I'm sure you guys are furiously writing in the comments right about now. But just so you know, I wasn't going to paint it a real color no matter what. So don't feel like you're getting ripped off here. Perfect. Ish. So there you go. We'll let that flash off. We'll do a little walk around, show you that. We'll finish off the back kind of quarter section here, which is a lot more primer and rustiness. And then some other time we'll take it up on stands and I'll do the wheel wells. Again, I gotta decide what I want to do for ride height. I'll end up chopping up some of these wheel wells for sure, depending on how she goes, but actually down here it's looking pretty good. Good for what it is anyways. So we'll let this dry off, we'll do a little tour, and then we'll tackle the back. So we'll do a little walk around now. So that's what it's kind of looking like. So I'm pretty happy with it. I mean, again, I know it's not perfect, but trying to recreate patina is terrible. I actually kind of hate it, but it's a necessary evil with the amount of rust I have to deal with all the time. So, I mean, this door is all bent, hammered down, whatever. You can see the weld kind of boogers through that I carried on. It's actually still just a little bit wet at the bottom there, but the transition is kind of nice. I don't know if it's going to show up on camera, but right here to here is where I kind of blend it up, so it kind of lightens up and does its thing. At the front, you could use a little bit of yellow, but that's fine for now. The back actually turned out pretty good. I'm kind of happy with it. It's got kind of these little droop lines of where the brake cleaner was. The doors, because it was kind of painted black at some point, I just kind of carried on with that. On the inside, I just fogged the inside black just because who cares. And then, like, this stuff turned out really good, I think. Kind of mimicked it pretty close. I mean, it was so rusty down there and up top. And I sliced it here to here, actually. So that's what I painted. I mean, I don't know. Definitely mediocre at best, but kind of suits the rest of the car. We'll do the back real quick. Danielle texted, supper is almost ready, so this one might be done in a hurry. I don't know if that'll help us or hurt us. We'll do that. I think after supper, I might want to test out the tail lights on this thing, actually get them in, because I'm happy with it. While that was all kind of doing its thing, I ground off the tailgate. Nope, deck lit. I'm going to get it right one of these days. So it's pretty much good. I'm happy with the way that is. I don't think I'm going to paint this like I did that. I'm thinking about doing, people say vinegar and all sorts of miscellaneous things, and just actually make it rust, or just put it outside. I'm not too sure. But that's what we're going to do on that, because it's all kind of new metal. I think it'd be funny to try and blend that much. It would look terrible. So, not that it's going to look any better the way I'm going to do it, but hey, let's try and experiment. So I'll move the camera. We'll get set up on this, blast that real quick. It'll be super easy. I mean, it should turn out like that in theory. And then, yeah, supper time. Some more of the same. This one's got lots of primer in it. So it almost seems like there's primer around here, and then the rust kind of came over it, and then there was black on the belt line for whatever reason. So we'll try and recreate that somewhat. Oops, that was a big one. I already even know what was the original, what wasn't. Just kind of make it match a little bit. Really winging it at this point, you guys can't tell. Just seeing what I think it's gonna look like, something or terrible. Yeah. I think this I use a little more black. I'll just spray the top and let it leak down. Are we done with that? 'Cause I'm hungry. I think it'll look cool. So we'll leave it like that. We'll see what happens. This will just kind of break clean off because that's just overspray. That should be it. I did grind down on the inside, so that's pretty much okay. Just the braces, I got to do that yet. I just noticed that when I was grinding, so it needs a little bit more welding. It'll do its thing. It'll rust. It'll be what it's going to be. Kind of a beater old hot rod. But I'm stoked on. I'm stoked on the deck lid. Yeah, it turned out fantastic. Closes basically perfectly. So we'll let that set up. It stinks in here. It's a pain in the ass to work in. I'll come out and we'll try and, I don't know if we'll just kind of mock these taillights up, see what it looks like, or perhaps start cutting some holes in the steel, but that's what we're doing. So here's that box of lights I got from Colin there. So these are Corvair taillights, and they would have originally had the reverse light in the center. So apparently what guys do is they take that out and they put in like a beehive or something like that light, which looks okay. Unfortunately, they're all sold out on the internet right now, so I have to do a little look around and find out where I'm going to get it. Amazon anyways didn't have them. So that's the backing. So very simple. I just don't know if I want to cut a hole that size in just yet. So I think what I'm going to do is maybe just take the lens and kind of see about where I want it, and maybe just drill a couple of holes. That way if I hate it, worst case I can just drill them in and there's no hard feelings. So I want to get a look of where I want to put them, in, out, all that sort of thing. So I got to do a little Googling, a little bit of measuring and kind of masking, ultimately is eyeballing it. Put them on there, and then like I said, put the plate where I want that to be, if I want to hang down or do whatever. Get an idea of what this thing's going to look like. And I think it's just 2.5. I'll have to measure that. But I think 2.5 is standard trailer stuff. So worst case, I could put just like an LED trailer light in there for the time being. Just kind of see what it looks like. But yeah, I don't want to mangle this brand new panel if I'm not 100% sold on them. I mean, a lot of guys use Pontiac lights, something like that, and they're just a big red light. So I'm sure it'll be fine. They look cool. I dig them. But until it's on the car, I'm not 100% yet. So I'll probably do a little bit of measuring, a little bit of figuring, and get those screwed on. I upload everything else to my computer. Looks like it's going to be a long video already by this point. So I think we'll do that, clean up, and be done tonight. All right. Well, I think it looks wicked like that. I just kind of eyeballed the lights, kind of measured 2 inches off the belt line there. It looks a little funny because that back panel is a bit of a slant. So once it's straight, it'll be just perfect. I just kind of vice gripped the license plate on there. I don't know. My license plate might have to go up a little bit. What I'd like to find is an old, like those club cast, whatever they are, things that people had back in the, I don't know, 50s, 60s, whatever it was. That'd be kind of cool, like those little license plate looking things. But I'm stoked on it. So I'm going to see if maybe tomorrow after work I can pop by Princess Auto and see if I can just get a couple of trailer lights just to kind of put in there to get the kind of look. I think they'll look cool, but having the bare metal shine through is a little annoying. Up here kind of turned out not bad. Might have a little bit of primer showing a little bit too much, but overall, whatever. So it's just fine, I think. Good enough for who it's for. But leave it outside, it'll kind of rust, do its thing, whatever it may be. I'm gonna get a little more in there. But again, I think that's where I'm gonna end this video. I'll be back obviously tomorrow because it never ends here. Probably start finishing off the body work on those 2 little corners. I want to get that all kind of taken care of. Inside, I pulled that drive shaft that Brent gave me. It looks like it's gonna be pretty damn close to the right size. So I got a different yoke. I actually bought a transmission mount, so I might get the transmission mounted properly. I got to track down the rear section so I can get that drive shaft sorted. I got to finish welding the headers because they're just all kind of tacked together. So still lots of little piddly things to do, but I'm happy with the progress. Let me know what you guys think. If you hate the paint, sorry. Leave a comment anyways. Taillights, what do you think? Up, down, left, right. I'm happy with them. And yeah. Do me a favor, if you haven't, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Leave a comment. I love answering them. I love all your guys' opinions and stuff like that. You guys seem to know this stuff better than I do. Otherwise, I'll see you guys in the next one. Yeah. Stay safe out there.